Turan here, and welcome to episode 5 of this Pillars of Eternity Let's Play on hard difficulty as my range Cipher. And in episode 4, we picked up two more companions, Durans and Kana.
Yes?
And one thing I forgot to do, and we're about to uh, fix, not fix, but basically resolve this issue with Miller's and with the Miller being basically quarantining himself. Well, not quarantining, more barricading himself away from the townsfolk while the townsfolk are angry that they're going hungry. Um, but before that, I forgot to actually talk to
Hey.
some of my.
Yes?
I talked to Aloth, but I haven't talked to my three new companions, so I'm gonna do that now, just to cover all my bases. And um, yeah, see, I talked to Alas, so that's good.
Huh?
I haven't talked to Eder. I hope that old watcher's still there. He's talking about uh, Kaednua. Been years since I heard anything from here. What is it you want to ask this watcher in Kaednua? I want to ask some questions, something about you. I was wondering about Eothas. What is it you want to ask this watcher in Kaednua? Just some things about the past, about the war. I'd been thinking I missed my chance to find out what I wanted to know. That old watcher, though, he opens up some new possibilities. I want to ask something about you. If you're sure, what did you do before this?
Oh, other than the war, I never strayed too far from where you found me. Farming, mostly. I was never much for cities. Never learned a trade. In my younger days, I thought I was going to go preach the word of Aethys. Just in our temple there. My parents encouraged it. I made so much trouble for them growing up. They used to say it'd be best if I got in good with the god of redemption. Of course, us blowing him up probably didn't help my chances there. But if anybody'd forgive you for blowing him up, it'd be Aethys.
Did the people of Gilded Vale really try to kill you?
They, they did. It was strange timing, because we just won the war. They celebrated when I came home. There was music and dancing. Trumbull used half his grain making this big honey cake. I still dream about that cake. Like having the best lover of your life, but only for one night. And they were all sorry to hear about my brother.
For the cake? Spiced with laced with poison or something?
Took a while for word of the purges to reach us. Aethasians being murdered in the streets. Cold morn and the like. No way would they let something like that happen in Gilded Vale. That's what they all said. But the weeks went by and the purges spread. Pretty soon they weren't so sure my brother fought for Deerwood. And they weren't so sure I did.
Oh, interesting.
Caught me by surprise after all the celebrating. Should have seen it coming after the tailor said he was going to fit me for some new clothes, but then all he wanted was my neck measurement.
Oh, wow.
Nah, not that last part. But you had to think about it. Says a lot about the place I've been calling home all these years.
Why did you stay for so long in a town that hated you?
Well, I'm sure my parents are still wondering the same thing. The Aethasian purges were like this madness had come over the town, like a disease. Seems like when you see something like that, your instinct is to wait for it to pass, even when you know it probably won't. The family whose farm I worked on, they had a little hollowborn girl.
Oh.
And they heard the Animancers had this cure, salvation it was called. They went running. This salvation, they were putting animal souls in children. You might have heard about it, giving them enough personality to care for themselves. Well, you can guess how that turned out. Matter of time, the children broke down, became wild things, monsters.
Ugh.
Anyway, these farmers put their family dog's soul in their little girl. For a while, the girl, she's making eye contact, she's feeding herself, albeit in a kind of messy way. Then one day she snaps. They found her gnawing on her brother's bones. Had to chain her up, put her in a cow pen.
Oh.
Well, the mother, she wouldn't have anything to do with the girl after that. But the father, he'd visit every day, feed her chickens, toss water on her once in a while to get the dirt off. Most of the village, they'd whisper about him. Poor man, they'd say, sick with grief. He was just waiting for his daughter to look up one day and recognize her papa. He was waiting for her to get better. Didn't understand that at the time, of course, but these days I think about him a lot.
Wow. Do you have any family? Just my parents now. They took up a ship back to Adair when the purge started. Wanted me to go with them, but I didn't see things like they did. Been a long time since I've seen them. I really should visit, but for some reason I haven't much felt like leaving home. Good thing they chased me out, or I might have never left. I want to ask you about something else.
What's on your mind?
I was wondering about Aethys.
It makes two of us.
What is there to know about Aethys?
If you're looking to find religion, maybe you want to start with a god that hasn't been burned to dust, but I won't stop you. Aethys, he was a young man with a silver crown. Carried a candle around with him. Sounds like I'm giving a bad eulogy here.
He was a lot of different things to different people, I guess. Rebirth, redemption, light. Out in the country, he's gone, the farmer who helps out all things past, seasons, and people of both. Oh, he's a farmer. He was a farmer, too. He watches over the weak, Dawes gone, sees imbalances made right. You could see why all the coupleless rowdies around here might take a liking to someone like that. He was a real popular here for a time. These days, you won't find too many worshipping Aethys in the open. It's hard to know who still does it in private and who's given up. Feels like I'm the last one sometimes. If that's the case, he deserves all the mourning. Do you still worship Aethys?
In my way. I don't suppose he expects me to show up at his temple these days. Not much left to do for him other than keep his memory alive and keep hoping that he's just been playing a joke on all of us these past 15 years.
Well, as far as I know, he hasn't said anything to anybody since the God Hammer detonated. I have why worship him then? Well, if it turns out he's not dead and I gave up on him, I'd have betrayed my God twice. Even the God of Redemption's gotta have standards. I'd probably be reborn as a fat almost horse. That's not really it, though. Not all of it, anyway. He cast a sidelong glance. Yes, it's more, I still believe in the things he believed in. I just hope his death doesn't mean the death of those things as well. Sometimes it looks like that way. Why did you choose to worship Aethys in the beginning?
Raised that way. My family's been Aethasian going way back. Suppose it wasn't much of a choice at first. Don't know for sure why my family started worshiping him. Probably because of Gon looking after folks like us.
He looks you in the eye conspiratorial. Could just as well be that my ancestor did something so bad only Aethys could forgive. It explains a lot about where I got some of my less respectable traits. Do you only worship because that's how you were raised?
Mm-mm. There was something I genuinely liked about Aethys. Always. Like he understood people better than the other gods. Knew all our flaws and weaknesses and accepted us for that. Folks are at their worst when they're afraid. A god like Aethys, he made you realize there was nothing to fear. Made you a better person. Of course, he goes away for a few years, and look what happens.
What made you think Wade Wen didn't speak for Aethys?
Was his actions. Not when he started his rebellion, and not even when he took over Raed Saris. It was when he sent his armies into Deerwood.
Up to that point, he was sticking up for his people. That's what Aethys does, at least the gone part of him. Those farmers were starving and their government didn't lift a finger. I figured if it wasn't Aethys himself, at least he had the right idea. But then he sent armies across the border, even crossed it himself in the end. Word was he was chasing refugees that escaped the rebellion, wanted to punish them, and punish us for allowing them to live here. That just didn't fit for me. Those are the deeds of a vengeful god, Scan, or Wodica maybe. Or just a man who'd lost his sense. I still have trouble believing in it, but there's no one left to ask if it's true. Tell me about the purchase.
You sure you don't want to talk about something more pleasant? Like the War of Black Trees or the Legacy or something?
It's eye-opening seeing just how naked you are when you've got no god to protect you. The Saints' War was a hard time to be a Derwoodan. People thought it was end times. They talked big about how we were gonna defeat a god, but I don't think there was a man from here to the White March didn't think he was gonna die. It was it does something to you, thinking you're gonna die at someone else's hands. There's a rage that comes, indignation. Imagine a whole country full of that. Might have been cold morn that started a town near the border. They let Waidwen march right on through. The rest of Deerwood cursed their names till the end of the war. Some say it was the youth Sagens there that persuaded the town not to oppose army. Others said it was just cowardice. It was like the legacy that way. No one knew the real reason, so they just picked whichever one best suited what they wanted to believe. Either way, that town was burning before the first ashes of Eothas hit the ground, and it felt good for the people here to be in control after being so helpless. So the fire spread. A lot of Eothasians went the way of our god. There were claims from the Church of Magran that she'd actually commanded the purchase. I found that hard to believe. Sounded like to me like people doing what they wanted, wrapping their god around it like it was a cloak. Then again, that's what I thought about Waidwen. I want to ask you something
What's on your
else.
mind?
I think I've asked everything. Cool. Let's talk to Durans. Thought I felt your eyes on me. Now come the words. Oh, I need you to leave. I had questions I wanted to
If
ask you.
doubts and curiosity plague you, you're skidding your knuckles on the wrong door.
Why were we supposed to meet? The why of it is you're a watcher, he snorts. A watcher runs two roads of why. For me, it's more of a matter of what. There was a time when I wouldn't have spared a thought for your words, or even bothered with you. But now, seeking out watchers is what I do. To put the truth to them, see which of the two ways they bend. He smiles slightly, taunting. Truth? What kind of truth? Either you're a dry field in need of a harvest spurting, he frowns for a moment, his eyes flat, or you're lost in darkness. Either way, you can see differently from others. He gives half smile, then his tone becomes accusing. I can tell by the way you notice the staff first off. Not many can see it at first, nor the etchings, nor the flames, but your eyes, he stares at you, almost eagerly nodding. Your eyes trace the path. That I could see. So which are you, a dry field or a lost in darkness? Durance's face tenses. The day we don't trade that question back and forth is the day our paths no longer need to be joined, and the trial. Durance's hand clenches his staff. The trial is done. So you don't know either? You know this nation is diseased. Don't need to be a watcher to see it in the children, the politics, the men that stalk the road with knives in their hands and murder in their eyes. This land needs life again. New seeds planted in the burned soil. His voice drops, mocking, and his eyes narrow. And something tells me that you see the path to making that future happen, Watcher. Your kind always does. So, then, we need to make sure you see truly now. This nation, this people, don't need any more lies blinding them, nor do I. You test a truth. You don't blindly accept it. How do you plan to test me? Sharing the road, of course. One truth to match another, matching each other's pace, keeping rhythm. Other priests can keep their teachings and rantings. For my face, my teaching, sharing the road is a simple, hard truth. His smile widens, and his hands tap against his waist once, then twice. And when you knock one truth against the leg of another, why, both legs stand firm. But now if you strike a lie at the knee with the same force, smile dies and his eyes narrow. Why, you make a cripple with but one leg to stand on. Is that why you carry that staff? You won't find my truth lacking. Is that why you carry that staff? Is that why I is about to launch another volley of words, blinks, and then he rolls his head back and laughs deeply. The laughter coming until it seems the air will run out of his lungs, until it seems forced. Perhaps your words are worth listening to, Watcher. He frowns, any trace of humor gone. But the truth will win out. Keep pace and we'll see. Let me ask you about
The
something
cost
else.
of troubling me seems to worry you little.
I want to ask you about the region's history. Durance grunts. Can you tell me about the Hollowborn?
That's a curse that runs deeper. It's a god hammer of a different sort. And like the god hammer, it was made by men's hands.
All things have a price. Left unchecked, faithlessness, virtues. It leaves marks on the souls, until souls don't have the strength to enter bodies that are pure. Animancers, ciphers, all who play games with the fabric of souls are to blame for the barren field they leave behind. Hey, don't go accusing me. I'm a cipher. Turan glares at you. Even the Watchers can do the same. Some simply watch. Others try to weave souls, guide them as surely as Wade went across Evan-Dur. He returns away. That is why I correct the Hollowborn when I find them, and the ones whose hands have led to this seed being spilled on the ground. Correct the Hollowborn?
There are fewer souls. There are more vessels. It is simply equaling of the process.
Oh. Too few souls, too much vessels, meaning you will kill the vessels? That's murder.
I feel more remorse in putting down a slathering hound. A wict? Less than a mongrel in its misery. Murder is a kindness, not a crime. Always has been. I would sooner put the blade to those who are to blame instead. If any spirits should be punished, it's theirs.
And who's to blame? The fields of the Dirwood are filled with weakness, ripe for those that play with souls' minds. His faint wrinkled and frown. Animancers of their kind, watchers too. They bear more of the burden than their victims, and more of the punishment. Every era has seen a new crime, the Saints' War, the Hollowborn, the Salvation. There's no proof Watchers are to blame for these events. There are few who can shape a soul in such a fashion. And any Watcher, any true Watcher born in Dirwood would be able to see the crime even if they did not cause it. Silence itself is damning. Why don't you end me then?
Murder you? I would not grant you any of them. The mercy I grant the Hollowborn. You would not be deserving of it.
You'd equate murder with mercy?
Murder is an old word. Mercy is letting a soul fly free to the next body. True punishment? Ruining someone to their soul. Crack their spirit like you would crack their skulls with a staff. Beat them. Hurt them in mind and body. So their souls become shards. But you leave it inside the vessel, like a bag of glass, to either choke on it or pass it through their bloody stool.
Whoa.
Then, leave it in the body to think on it, like planting a new field with the right seed.
He makes a locking motion with a twist of his hand and grins satisfied. That sounds like that sounds like you've committed it to memory.
Many marks may I make upon your flesh, but flame leaves marks that cannot heal. Magran doctrine dictates true punishment is one that remains in memory, in the soul, in the flesh. Even should the victims die, slowly or swift, sometimes by their own hand afterwards, the lesson lingers, burned in their flesh.
There's a certain justice in that.
Have you seen a man branded by flame? He remembers it always, in every waking movement. It is a lesson writ in the only ink and vellum that matters, blood and flesh. One can burn the soul as well. It is an art, and I do not take pleasure in it. But there is more at stake here than forgiveness. Many of Aethys's faith were punished in the purges following the Saints' War. And the ones that harmed children, they suffered worse.
What do you mean?
We did what must be done. Wherever they were rooted out, their souls reclaimed. And if they couldn't be reclaimed, we ensured they would never inhabit another body.
Another body? I want to ask you about the region's history. Do you think there's any tie between the Hollowborn and the Godhammer?
Aethys was the god of rebirth, and his light does not fall on the Dirwood. I've heard some claim it's his doing, his death. It's closed the halls to new souls. I doubt it. The Hollowborn have their roots in the acts of men, Women, I feel it.
I wanted to ask you about the region's history. Keep shopping and I'm extend the tithe ball for each question. Enough question for now. Let the road keep us until the next campfire. Tithe ball. Alright. He is, let's not talk to him.
Following your lead.
Let's talk to Kana.
It's good to be on the road again. A wanderlust is nothing rare in the people of Rawatai, but often I think myself alone in loving the land as much as the sea. What shall we see next, I wonder?
How are you holding up? I'm ready if you are. Tell me about yourself.
What shall I tell? I am Kanarua, born in the royal city of Takoa, from which rules the Ranganui. There. That is a solemn enough start. I am a lore chanter in the college there. Or at least a student of lore and a chanter both.
Not enough perception. Do you have a family back in Rautai? I have 5 older siblings and my mother and father. My father is a coral mason and favored by the Ranganui. It was he who engineered the Gate of Great Teeth. My 2 brothers have taken up my father's work, and my mother encouraged my sisters to sail. It leaves me free to pursue other things. There's a wealth of knowledge just within the walls of the college, and beyond it more than I could learn in 10 lifetimes. He laughs, but I can try all the same. What is this great Gate of Great Teeth? Much as it sounds, a maze of walls, like the teeth of some nautical terror. It sits outside the city and guards Takoa from invaders and storms. The storms have always been more trouble. Nui Tanri, the angry titans, throwing themselves against the Raotai's shores. Invaders I'm not so sure about, but perhaps I'm like the man who, being dry, throws off his rain cloak during a storm. Kinda laughs, so my mother would have me believe. What would you like to know? What made you leave the college?
I was on the usual path at first. Theology, the traditions, when the Gate of Great Teeth was completed. It was all my father had hoped for. The greatest commission he had ever received. But it was also a sign that Rawatai was changing, looking inward. Meanwhile, I was neck deep in the writing of a dozen nations, marveling at all the things that lay beyond our borders.
And in so many of those books and records, I found accounts of ancient Nguth. The Aedirians hold a great hunger for Nguthan relics, and why shouldn't they? It was the civilizations from which the Glanfathans learned to read souls and ciphers. I decided that my 3rd degree would be in history, and that I would study the Nguthans. They were at the heart of so much discussion abroad, so many discoveries. It drew some mockery. We'd watched Aedir draw itself into several conflicts with the Glanfathans over these ruins. Takoa had its own concerns. And soon I founded a section of the Tanvi Oratoha in an Aedirian translation of ancient Nguthan script, just there, without explanation. It seemed like a gift from the gods. And what would you like to know? Tell me about the Wutsaranganui. A king, our great king, ruler over all of Rautai. He's led our people well, and he has treated my family very well. My father and he are great friends, as much as one can be friends with a king. Tell me about the lore chanters. My eldest brother thinks we spend our days in song, weaving wreaths from flowers, but the truth is far less exciting than that. The college preserves what knowledge our people have gathered. I would have it said that the lore chanters are Rautai, for without them we would have no beginning, no sense of how far we've come. We would forget ourselves with every generation. I'm only a student yet, but someday I'll return and tell the keeper what I learned, and she'll add my verses to the chant. It's epic, so he's like a very learned man, but he can fight too. And 3rd degree, awesome. I had other questions. Ask all you like. A change's purpose lies into the telling of stories, mostly true stories, on that. Tell me about Rautai.
Ah, Rawatai. Shall I describe the pearl-white sands, the sapphire waters, the multi-hued tiles of the rooftops, like a mosaic upon the coast? Sorry.
I like that description. Tell me about the kingdom of Rautai in general. It's a long journey by ship to the north, past Ixamitil and across the sea. We have settled much of the Gulf and established more recent trading colonies all along the coast. We live as best as we can, like anyone else. Our land is plagued by storms, and so we stand together in whatever corner of Rautai we hail from. Otherwise, we'd never survive. Tell me about the city you're from, Takoa.
Takoa is doubly famed, a royal city and home to the Coral Heart. The Ronganui's palace is there, and we've a fleet of royal ships sitting outside the Gate of Great Teeth. Every so often, you'll hear the roar of a cannon being tested.
Ooh, they're into cannon. Awesome. The finest ships in the Rautai, and so the world, are anchored there, and some of our brightest minds toil away at the artillery. My mother, for instance, kind of grins brightly. Myself, I have no talent with gunpowder. Takoa is also home to the lore college, of course, and we get a great many people traveling long distances to speak with the lorekeeper, or else hear the chants and peruse the books. At least that is how it was when I was younger. Things were a little different when I left. How so? You might say the winds are changing. The Bahari, they are traditionalists in a way. The Ranganui's son stands among their number. Talk at the dinner table has changed from how far a fleet Rautai ship might sail to how well defended our borders are, how far we have turned from the old ways. Then talk turns to barring Edirin and Balin merchant ships, and kind of sighs, things were difficult when I left. There was much arguing among the elders. I trust the king has kept the peace, but I worry sometimes that things have taken a turn for the worse. You aren't a traditionalist? So you're milling milks up. It's sensible to look to your people's own best interests. You aren't a traditionalist? Oh, I'm a regular firebrand. If you ask the other chanters, I don't see why I can't appreciate our traditions and chart a better future, but so goes the debate. It sounds like you miss home. Some parts of it, those silver cliffs, the sea, those at least no one can change. The day I boarded the ship for 8 years, the sunrise was gold up on the water, and I nearly leapt overboard and swam for home. Takoa has a lot of this artillery. Rautai has a lot of artillery. We've made great advances with explosives. One of our artillery masters Viles owns a gold hammer bomb during the Saints' War, actually. In Rautai itself, our efforts are more modest. Bombards, cannons, we're having some luck with mortars. You might ask my sister if you ever visit Takoa. She captains the Aratuana. She knows far more than I do, and enjoys great fame for it. It may not be very traditional, but even the most tried demagogue won't touch the subject of artillery. They'd lose what support they've gathered. Do only Aomawa live there? Far from it. The Aomawa arrived more recently and formed a greater number, but others have joined us, so long as they call themselves subjects of the Ranganui. Some of my neighbors are Orlans, for instance, fine people, though they care little for the sea. People here say that the coastal Arma are a cruel people. Cruel in the same manner that Orlans are feral and the pale elves graceful, yes. Kana chuckles. Aomawa conquered Rautai long ago and drove their enemies from those lands in the doing of it. Today the great kingdom of Rautai holds humans, Orlans, elves, even island Aomawa. Kana lashes a quick smile. What a campaign of conquest says about those responsible, you have to ask the adherents. In any case, yes, the reputation persists. Good if you want fighting work, less so if you would like to be a cook. Cook? Okay. And other questions? So these people who are after you. Oh, them? Yes, I ran into them in Aedir, or rather they sought me out. In Aedir, there were many people who had observed the Anguistan ruins in Dirwood, and I spent some time conferring with experts. In the libraries I found accounts of sites in Ixamital, and it was there I traveled next. But just before that, I found myself approached by a woman in dark robes who bade me abandon my studies for my own safety. I ignored her, of course, but I began to have the sense after that of being followed. And after that, well, one ambush on the road I could call misfortune, but 3? Who are these people? I thought it only fair to delve into the activities in turn. I found word of a leaden key, but past that it was all ravings and superstitions. I might as well have gone around asking whether someone had ever seen a whale flying through the air. Some might well tell me yes, but the validity of their accounts is questionable. I like how he looks into validity because in a lot of statistics, by statistic, you look at construct and internal or external validity. Yes, he's a scientist. I'm definitely gonna keep him. You don't seem worried about this. A scientist and a chanter. That's a cool mix. Bard. Uh, you don't seem worried about this. They haven't had much luck. The last one came up on me at a dig site and slipped on a muddy beam. I tried to catch him, reflex, I should think, but he went right over the side and down 100 feet. Oh wow, you're lucky. Or maybe your chants are keeping you safe. I'm not really sure what he had in mind, but I doubt that was it. I had other questions. What is the secret book you're looking for?
The Tanvi Oratoa. It's not really a book. It's been passed down over the years in the form of a chant. I actually found it a little strange at first, seeing it set down in stone.
Whoa.
It's not quite the same as a song of worship, though we have paeans to the gods as well. More a kind of moral guide. It gives us something to aspire to. The, model of a virtuous citizen of Rauatai.
Why looking for it here?
There have been arguments as to the chant's true interpretation. New translations even. But any rendition of it I find in the ruins of Engwith will predate those translations by 2,000 years. And finding it here also proves that we still have much to gain from trading with other cultures. I'd be lying if I said I'm not looking forward to seeing the look on everyone's faces when I get back. But in the long term, I just think that we can learn a lot from the Engwithians. A civilization like that is something to aspire to. A model for Rauatai as a whole, and not just its people.
I'm almost thinking Guthans. There's a reason why they became a ruin. So I don't think it's the greatest model.
And I want to prove that all of this is worthwhile. Traveling, seeing the world for what it is. It's been so different from sitting in the Chanter Hall and studying books.
Tell me about it. You came all this way to win an argument?
More or less. It wasn't a popular theory when I suggested it. The idea that we shared the Tanvi Oratoha with some older culture, I mean, doesn't mean it's not true. It doesn't help that my family is from the Deadfire Islands. If I had a copper pot for every chanter who suggested that it's just not in my nature to conquer. My siblings, my parents, they make up for it. They build walls and cannons and ships. I've tried to explain. It isn't that I think those things aren't necessary, but if Rauatai closes itself off from trade, turns on its own people over tradition, we will fall behind. And then we'll be the ones getting conquered.
Smart.
I think my father tries to understand at least.
Wouldn't have crumbled away by now?
Much of Ingwith's writing is lost to us, but an engraving would survive. I found several tablets at the site in Examitol. The scholar Gabranos, in particular, seems to have been fond of writing on the walls. I may have to ask you to help me carry it, if it's a large stone.
Oh, don't look to me. I'm just a wood elf. You're the big Aomala. So describe this virtuous citizen.
Dutiful, learned, honest. The sticking point is loyal. Loyal to the people of Rauatai, above all others. Fearless in their defense, and bold in aspiration. Tireless in battle or industry. An inspiration to one's people. But it seems it's not that far a leap from there to the idea that we must cast out foreign influences.
Is that what you aspire to be?
Doesn't everyone want to be a good citizen?
You think the Guthans were the true authors?
I don't know that the distinction is necessarily important. Rauatai has a long history, and our people have come from many different places. It matters less who wrote it than that I have found pieces of the verses all around the world. Wherever it came from, it will be Rauatai that decides what becomes of it. All the races and peoples of our kingdom coming together to create a great empire. You see, then, that I am loyal in my way.
I had other questions. You're being hunted by the Ledinki? So it seems. It's so rather absurd. What harm could I possibly do them by fighting this text? Perhaps they don't like Rauatai. How did this all begin? I ran into them into Adia, or rather they sought me out. Okay. I read this. Any questions? Do you know anything about this place? I haven't been to Gildavale save in your company. It's quaint, but I don't see why Adair remained here so long, if I'm honest. Alright. Alright, let's save. Another thing that I'm doing is that I am doing this let's play session with uh, with with AMD with the Mirror's action in in game setting, not as a not screen capture. So it's not screen capturing; it's actually screen capturing like like an in-game setting. So I'm worried that
Yes?
some like cinematics or not cinematics, but basically text might stop the video like it did for the beginning, but I don't think it will. Hopefully it won't. Oh, I have 25 focus now. It just keeps rising. That's awesome. Let's see, go inside here. He might shoot at us. Trumbull, there's Trumbull. An elven man stands before you. He is relatively stocky build, suggesting a life of labor. His face is pale and drawn, and his eyes wide. Behind him, a younger man and woman exchange worried glances. The miller raises a club as you enter. It shakes violently. Get back if you value your life. That is also not met. Okay, hold on. I'm not here to hurt anyone. I like to be. I don't like being threatened. Hold on. I'm not here to hurt anyone. The miller hesitates and lowers the club as a fraction. Who are you? Is Wainer roping foreigners into his little crusade now? What was all that ruckus outside? My name is Turan. I've only just arrived in Gildvale. I thought you could use some help. Those people out here there seem pretty angry. I don't like being threatened. Who's Wainer? I thought you could use some help. Those people out there seem pretty angry. Really? Trumbull sees sad relief. Could I use a friendly face? I take it you heard some part of what that crowd's asking for. Grain. I've got it all tucked away somewhere. Swainer's been egging that lot on for days now. They've been keeping clear so far, but if things keep on like they are, I don't know how much longer we've got before things get messy. Please, if you're not here on his behalf, maybe you could speak to Swainer. He won't listen to me anymore. Just explain that we're all getting smaller rations now. We're all making sacrifices. I'll go see what I can do. I'd keep out of this whole mess. I'll go see what I can do. I'll be grateful if you did. He won't listen to me anymore, but maybe you'll have better luck. Tell him we're all having a hard time for it, and we'll have to make some sacrifice, okay? We'll be in your debt for now, if you can convince him.
Of course.
Milgard, okay. Chiaro. My father's a good man. He's always done right by the town. Ulfdan. I'm sure father can explain better what's happened here.
Gods keep you.
Yeah, I've had more questions about the whole situation. A Trumbull breathes a short laugh. What's so special? It isn't very complicated. I can't pay top prices for blighted wheat, and I've barely got enough good grain to go around. Swainer's howling after things he has no right to. Seems like a pretty clean story for a mess situation. Franz, if it's not, he pauses. Look, Swainer's always been a rotten bastard. With stores so limited, maybe I can save the good stuff for people who deserve it. Alfra, for instance, she's expecting a child. Should I let her starve instead? Does the village know about the grain supply? Looks embarrassed. So, Sam, the innkeeper, for instance, is better not to worry anyone. I'll be trading for supplies soon enough. If we can just keep things calm until then, we'll be in the clear. The innkeeper? I wouldn't drink the ale, is all I'm saying. Okay. Yeah, alright, so I'll need to talk with Swainer. That'll be stealing. Alright. So there's having a food shortage because their crops are not basically producing anything. Yeah, so we've explored all this east. Only left is Alfra's house. She's expecting a child. It's only the west part, and then we in the middle of Temple of Eothas. Let's just actually go to Temple of Eothas. What is this? That's Theophalian. Oh, I can check him. Check his soul. You see a pennant waving tall and sluggish in the wind. A rising sun embroidered on the banner, the vanguard of a small troop of paladins. The atmosphere is buoyant, if restrained, and their armor has not yet been tarnished by the elements. This expedition is fresh, young, filled with zest and zeal. At their head stands a commander, awkward in full armor but determined in step. Despite the excitement of his fellows, he does not smile. There's a twist to his mouth. His countenance grim. He throws up a hand, halting his troop. Silence falls among them, revealing a dark thunder, deep and low. He orders them to ready their weapons and spread out. Eyes dart from horizon to horizon, necks twisting to see the source of the sound. In the distance, dust and lightning rise from the ground as Stygian clouds race toward them overhead. The soldiers stand, only staccato movement of their breath betraying the nerves. The commander closes his eyes, calling a blessing down on his troop. Invigorated, invincible, they wait as the enemy draws closer, poised to attack. Ooh, this guy's a paladin. With a troop of paladins. I'm not sure which one, though. Beneath the vines are crude carvings of a sun rising over 3 stars. This used to be... We can go down. Let's explore what's down here. Hopefully... Many aspects of the interface and display can be adjusted to your personal preferences in the options menu. Okay. Uh-oh. A right sign and the 3 Dawn Star symbol of Eothas. Please help me here. A man lies resting against the wall, lit by the dim illumination of the fading sconces. He has a gaunt fox-like aspect, and his face is pale and damp with sweat. One arm is held loosely against his side, sleeves soaked with blood. He gives you an anxious glance as you near, his features twisted with pain. Have a care if you mean to go in. He casts a quick look towards the doorway to his left. This place is not so empty as I thought. He angles a look up at Eder. Paying respects, Eothasian? He manages to pain grim. A little risky, isn't it? Think what the town folk would say. Safer down here than up here. Up there, even with the rats as big as they are, a faint edge of hostility belies Eder's playful tone. This temple is the one it used to be, probably for the best. Times being as they are. He groans and shifts positions missing. I'm no looter, if that's what you're thinking. Not of his types either. Richard jerks his chin towards Eder. Just want to do some good, I suppose. Got my arm clawed up for it. He regards you warily. Maybe you'd have better luck. What happened with you? I was trying to avoid the spiders. He breathes a quiet laugh. Ran into a skulder. Might have gone a little better for me if the beast hadn't knocked the sword right out of my hand. Good blade too, probably still lying there in the dust. He smiles wearily, but I'm not, so that's alright. It's not a bad wound, I think, just hurts. What are you doing down here? I could get your search for you. What are you doing down here? And he points a figure upwards. These ruins around us used to be a temple of Eothas, scattered god, a grand temple at that. His worshippers would come from all over the Dirwood, from Red Cherries even. Not so much from Red Cherries these days, Eder. Until the war, of course. Even then, you'd get some of the stubborn ones, the ones that couldn't get it through their head that their god was dead and gone. Lord Reddick allowed them to worship? Lord Reddick would clear out the place from time to time, make a rest. It wasn't until the legacy that he started losing patience. He sent his guards in to put the priest to the sword, bring the place down, burn some of the books, and that was that. What's this legacy? Didn't the magistrate tell you? There was being punished for killing Eothas, or for not killing his followers too, depending on which idiot you believe. Either case, you don't see too many children around here born right. They come out and they don't cry, they don't look at their mothers. Got no soul in them to give them personality, they just breathe. Winterton eyes Eder warily, as the man says, the thinking is it's Waidwen's having a last laugh. Strikes me as a little petty, even for a dead god. He smiles thinly, but Lord Reddick believes it. That's all that matters. Go on. Once the legacy started, Lord Reddick decided he'd been too lenient on the Eothasians. He had his people go in and put them to the sword, left them down there buried under a heap of rock. After that, Redrick ordered the temple sealed. It's been years like that, up until recently. Lodred hopes that if we rededicate the temple to a living god, then we will be forgiven, and the legacy will end. See? He smiles wryly. But until then, the temple is as you see it, unguarded. That's where you come in. Weirton licks his lips. Those priests, maybe they didn't have a lick of sense between them, but they still didn't deserve to go like that. Chopped down in their god's house. It doesn't sit right with me. If you can get down there, find the remains, maybe we can finally give them a proper burial. Weirton breathes out. No small task. There's coin for you if you need motivating. Allah's cautious expression softens. A pleasant surprise to see that someone around here has a shred of respect for the dead. I'll find them. I'll take it if you're supposed to be here. They're long dead. What does it matter if they're buried? Wait, you want me to bring you some skeletons? I have some questions first. I don't really have questions. I'll find them. Led by the flame, I owe you a good turn. But listen, the temple has been sealed off for so long as crawling with creatures. But if you get past them, the priests would have been down on the lower floor. They'll be there still if they're anywhere. Those priests had all kind of secret chambers, switches on the halls, tricks, sconces, that kind of thing. Keep an eye out and take care down there. I wouldn't want to have to send somebody else after your remains. I'll wait here by the stairs to keep a lookout. Maybe try to patch myself some. Alright, let's do this mini dungeons. It feels like in Fallout when you will go to attack the Rat King and they mentioned the huge rats and spiders, so it should be fun. Okay. Whoa, this place is pretty huge. Oh, what is this? Will-o-wisp? Okay,
Hey.
try to knock him down.
What?
You... Holy Radiance.
Following your lead.
You just, yeah, just fight.
Yes? I'm here.
I'm gonna do a level 2 spell to mental bind it. Oh! Did you see that? I critted it for 16 seconds. Paralyzed it. No, he did 5 hit. Okay, can I do something? I can do, yes. What are you doing?
Following your lead.
Adair. He's attacking that guy. Okay, no, you attack this guy. Adair is attacking that guy. No. He's confused. Oh, that's why he can't attack. He's shooting.
How may I help?
Why you... Will-o-wisp. Get that. You're gonna get yourself just hurt. Huh. Your current attacking foe with at least 1 defense. That's much higher than the accuracy of the current attacking. When defense comes above you, it can be extremely difficult to score a hit and impossible to score a crit. Try to raise the attacker's accuracy. Okay. Kill this thing. Yes, kill that thing. Well done. Oh, that was crazy.
Sleep would do me good.
Who said that? Minor fatigue.
I shall.
There's Adra and a copper pan.
Yes?
There's a spirit residue. And this parchment is worn and tattered, and the ink upon it faded. In this time of hardship, must have just as much faith in ourselves. These will-o-wisps hurt. Okay, let's go this way now. Oh, spiders. Oh, get back. Where are my people?
I'm here. Yes?
You get back.
Attack!
I?
Oh, he got really hurt. Because these guys need to be up
course.
front.
Indeed.
Okay.
Yes?
I want to mental bind that thing. Ivory spider.
Working!
Oh, what? Something happened to me.
On your word.
If you can go this way,
Hey,
there, you have to go over there.
Hmm?
You cast that.
Yes?
You cast Cipher. Do something.
Upgrade.
Don't do so far. So far, the most useless
here.
member of the group is definitely
Please help me here.
Oh no!
What?
Do you have a heal? Restore mine endurance. Yes.
Yes?
What?
He's
Yes?
still doing it. Okay.
Yes?
He missed.
I'm here.
I should have done model mind blades. Yeah, Kana got hurt. Weird.
I'm here.
all right then.
I'm here.
Spider venom sac.
Of course.
What is this? The spell furniture branded with
I'm here.
scorch marks. Jasper, a letter home. Mother, I have asked Brother Edric to carry this letter to you, for he travels to New Heomar come morning. With him goes what coin I have, and I hope it will ease the surprise of an unexpected homecoming. For I mean to follow in a few days' time. Our village is much changed, and though I do not wish for you to worry, I do not feel it is safe to remain. I know Rectrix Obrica will not approve, but letter trails off here. Whoever sat here left in a hurry. Ink has dripped across the scroll, obscuring its contents. Can we move anymore? No. There is a lower level. I think I should rest up before going.
How may I help?
He leveled, he got a lore and athletics. Good. Bewildering spectacle, blinding web, bulwark against the elements, combusting wounds, council house corrosive, curse of blackened sight. That's pretty good. 28 seconds. Sheesh, that's really good. Fetid caress, range 6 meters, 10 meters. Infuses vital essence. Max stamina, that's pretty good. Merciless gaze. Miasma of dual-mindedness. Oh, that's pretty powerful. Mirrored image, necrotic lands. Whoa, that's 46, 30 to 56 corrode. That's pretty high. Ray of fire and rolling flame. Definitely black and sight. That's really great CC. Yeah, some of dual-mindedness. I'm thinking rolling flame. Necrotic lance. Lance pure critical cause grow damage easily over time. I like that because has corrode and corrode is good against yeah, I like necrotic lance. Alright.
Indeed. Aye?
I'm actually gonna end the episode here, and in episode 6 we're gonna continue exploring this Eothasian temple. More like the catacombs of it, beneath it. Yeah, we are beneath it. We're like in the basement. Alright, see you in episode 6.